Renaissance level of tech. And we've
But
been
with
dropped into a late medieval level of tech.
Yeah, I guess that's the best we can do for like real world comparison.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Adventures Wanted. This is our 87 of 250.
Woo! All right, 7.
Just so you're aware, all of our performances are relaxed performances. It means the lights are going to stay up like this. There is a small chance we've had a bit of an issue with some of the room's lighting. But if that goes out, I will sort that out straight away, so it'll only be 10 seconds. And there's relaxed attitude to movement and noise from the audience for the benefit of people who would struggle to stay still and silent for an hour. And if you need to pop out or come back in during the hour, that's absolutely fine. There'll also be no sudden loud noises. You don't look like you need a hearing loop headset or anything, but if you did need something like that, my name's Chloe, I'll just be in that corner and say magic this hour. But for now, I will pass over to Alex, who is our GM for the next one.
Wonderful, thank you, Chloe. At some point, I'd like some sort of glittery, wonderful, like, ooh music.
I will see
Ooh, music.
There's a sort of very specific but also incredibly general request.
Can I get a cup?
Oh, do we have a spec up? I will run out and get you one while Alex introduces
you.
everything.
Hello, everybody. I am Alex. I am the Games Master for this hour and for the next few hours today. What is this? Well, welcome. This is Adventurers Wanted. We are a role-playing tabletop adventure. What that means is that everybody here around the table is playing their own unique character. I, as the Games Master, will play the rest of the world. I will describe places, people, and things that they encounter. I will tell them things that happen, and they will suggest things that they would like to do. Sometimes I will ask them to roll dice to see whether they succeed gloriously or fail hilariously. All of that will help us as we tell a story together. The story so far, all of our members, all of our players and characters are crew members aboard a naval research vessel called the Spirit of the Horizon. On a recent mission, it was unexpectedly and magically transported to a completely new and unknown world. Now the crew have to figure out how to get home, whether that's by fighting monsters, exploring islands, meeting and finding new allies, or by some other means as yet unknown. Most recently, our party have found themselves bereft of gunpowder. Their entire stock was stolen and used to stage a huge explosion on a nearby island. And they are searching for the constituent parts of this thing which is unknown to most of the societies on the world. They have most of the pieces. All they're missing is saltpeter, a very rare and strange mineral that no one on the islands above really knows much about or where to get it. They have been suggested that they delve deep beneath a mountain known as the Silver Peak, where a mining community may be able to lead them to somewhere where they can find some. They made their way through. They helped kill off an infestation of strange sort of spider crab ants that spat acid at them and caused untold damage to all of their party. Then they fought their way through past a giant hermit crab. And most recently, they have found themselves walking through a strange tunnel made entirely of diamond, which glowed with this iridescent light. And at the end of which, they found themselves in an enormous cavern, a cavern so large there is no way it could possibly fit beneath the mountain that they stood beneath. That is where we're going to jump back in. Before we do so, I'm just going to go around the table and I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves, the name of their character, what their character is, and a little thing about their character, like what they did on the ship before, or why the other people on the ship would know who they were. And I'm going to start on my left-hand side.
I'm Tommy, and my character will be Reginald Farnsworth.
Nice.
A human fighter
Strong.
who was the person who repairs the sails on the ship.
Ah. Yeah, no, we haven't had that yet. I'm really glad that he was there.
Yeah, I'm glad someone's there on the ship to repair the sails. Great.
My name is Leo, and my character is Philip Iontaru, the elvish geologist, who is really struggling to empathise with people who are not elves currently.
My name's Naomi. I'm playing Brina Froddle, who is a gnome wizard. She's in charge of all the magical research going on the ship. And she's a bit panicky, but she's okay. She's doing all right.
My name is Brandon. My character's name is Fortune Kaz. I am the rogue halfling. Not sure what a halfling is quite yet, though.
They're like 3 foot high. Think Hobbit without the hairy feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are officially not hobbits.
They are not hobbits.
I was a
They're
line
nobbits.
chef on
A line chef.
Spirit of the Horizon.
the Spirit of the Horizon.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's like, what do they call the food area of the ship on a ship?
The mess?
Galley?
Mess.
Galley.
Galley?
The galley.
Galley.
Galley. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, we pitch back in. Philip and Brina, you find yourselves within this huge, massive cavern. Philip is attempting to empty a sack full of diamonds onto the floor and quietly, and then he's trying to go around and take samples of everything in the cavern.
For science.
Brina is staring on in wonder and apprehension, because in front of her stands this huge, 100 foot across, 100 foot tall boulder made entirely of jade. And all across it is this scaffold. And on the scaffold there are these little moving bodies moving around. Reginald and Fortune, you find yourselves on board the ship. And as you are going about your business, you feel this strange magical tinge. There's a slight tang, a metallic tang in the mouth. And this is the first time this has happened to you, but you have heard stories. This is not the first time this has happened to anyone. This is a regular occurrence on board the ship. And you are pretty certain that you are both about to be teleported. You know not where. What are you doing on board the ship immediately before this occurs, Reginald?
Reginald, I am currently coming back to my quarters after fixing one of the main sails on the ship and just settling down for a nice nap.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I feel
You feel this
the tingly.
this little buzz, and yeah. Fortune.
I was in the galley. I was going over our remaining orange rations, and I was actually, dipping my finger in the orange pod. And I actually didn't notice the teleportation tang because I had the tang of oranges in my mouth.
Wonderful.
That's very good.
Yes.
Thank you. Philip and Brina, you see your previous companions.
Oh no!
There is this magical, strange, golden haze around them, and then they are gone. And in their place, you find Reginald and Fortune.
Reginald,
Hello.
do you mind carrying this sack?
They seem completely unfazed that the people
All
have
right.
changed.
Look, it happens, you know.
Listen, Brina and Philip have seen enough of this by now.
You know, it's fine. Howie, what, are you okay? This is the first time for you, right?
The orange didn't even come with me.
Oh.
We were eating orange.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There'll be plenty when we get back, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, this is weird, and I'm going to gesture to the... oh, wait, and then I remember what happened just before this, which was Kaid started storming off. So I'm going to message him and go, I'm not 100% sure we're under your mountain anymore, psychically.
Reginald, you
He's
care
not gonna
about
realise.
science, don't you?
I care
keeps
enough if
moving
it'll
forwards.
get me back to what I was doing before.
Fortune and Reginald, roll me quick perception checks. So roll the d20 and add your perception modifier and your skills.
Oh boy.
Perception's +1, so that's not great for you.
So you've got your skills back here, and they're in automation.
So your perception's +1. You don't need to write anything down, you just need to tell him the number.
+1.
Considering the
So
highest you
3
can roll
he
on
got
that is
total.
20.
Fortune, you're sidetracked. Mostly, it's the loss of the orange that has disappointed you. You do notice that the floor beneath your feet is definitely different. It appears to be made of this deep red material, like a mineral. Reginald, how did you do?
24.
24. Yeah, you look around and you see that you are in this huge cave. There are minerals. I mean, it's unbelievably huge. There are minerals everywhere. Stratas of gold, seams of silver, like a huge spike of this like crystal that just juts down out of the roof to this tiny point, and yet it still seems to be about 300 feet above your head. It's amazingly huge.
And speaking of minerals, Philip is wandering around putting random samples into the sack that you're carrying for him.
Can I see if there? Can I just? I'm not going to stop this man.
Sure.
So can I just look and see if there's any potassium nitrate anywhere
Sure.
in this room?
Sure. Roll me an
Investigation.
check. I mean, do you know what?
Niter.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. 20, non-natural.
Philip has told you what it looks like, so you have a vague inkling of what you are looking for. Now roll me an investigation check.
Sure. That is a critical failure.
Yeah, you look around the room and there is just... I mean, it's in here. And the reason you know it's in here is that everything is in here. Diamond, jade, zirconia, ruby, emerald, sapphire, like every type of stone and gem and ore that you have ever seen or heard of can be found in this room.
I am going to message Philip first, but then Reginald and Fortune as well, and say to each of them, in your head psychically, sorry, I'm sure you know this magic exists in character, see if there's any mined potassium nitrate and get as much as you can.
Yes, the niter. I would like to have a quick look around.
Where specifically?
In the piles that are mined.
Roll me an investigation check.
Brina at this point would also like to take out her portable hole, but still folded up.
A natural 20.
You look around, and most of what you see on the ground are incredibly rare, expensive minerals.
Yeah, taking that one.
Diamonds,
Reginald.
rubies, emeralds. Here and there you see traces of what might be the niter, the potassium, but again, not in huge quantities. Because you rolled a 20, the problem with niter is it's not a massively... there isn't a huge market for it in this world.
True.
And so therefore, while it exists, it's not being actively mined.
Right.
And so people who want it, or rather, people want stuff that's expensive and they can get good money for. And at the moment, they do not know they can get good money for this mineral.
It's just being ignored.
It's being ignored.
Right.
But it's there.
Because everything else is there.
Because everything is there. And as you look around, you can see that it's not like 1,000 miles up in the sky. Like there's seams of it here and there, dotted between seams of gold and seams of other minerals that I'm sure Philip knows what the names of them are.
Sure, absolutely he does. He turns to Brina and he says, Brina, of course there's some niter, there's some niter, there's some niter, there's some niter
Is there any we can put in?
Did you bring a mining crew with you?
I point to the Sariki who was with us before, whose name I can't pronounce.
Who? Cade?
At this
Cade,
point, Fortune and Reginald, you look where Brina's pointing, and you see a short man. He's sort of hairy from the back, grey hair, about the height of a dwarf, which you would recognise. Apart from, as you see him sort of storming away from you, you see that his skin is very pale, and it almost slightly like scales, which glisten and glint with a kind of opalescent, multicoloured glow as he walks. He is storming down this floor, and ahead of him, in front of the the massive boulder of jade, there are 3 cages, one of which contains a humanoid. And between 2 of the cages is a small caravan from which a tiny bit of smoke is just burning up and disappearing off into the room above. He is heading down there. Roll me a perception check, both of you.
It's a critical fail. It's a 1.
17.
You've got to declare when it's a 20 or a 1 on the d20 because it's critical fail or critical success.
It's a very overwhelming sight, and for a rogue particularly, all of this stuff that you could nick, like you're just like.
But I have realized where I am now.
You know where you are, but you don't recognise where you are. You've never been here before. If anything, where you have, this is literally like your greatest dream come true. Everywhere you look, it's definitely Philip's greatest dream come true, but everywhere you look is stuff you can nick. And it's not even in anyone's pocket. It's just there, and it's expensive and worth stuff. So I can imagine, like, you're in all the moment, all that's running through your brain is like, how much of this can I carry? Did I bring my extra satchel? Or things like that. Reginald, you overhear as he runs down, as you see him storming off away from you. You can hear him muttering under his breath, coming into my minds with his slaves, filthy. And he's angry, and you can see that he is making his way up towards the doorway of the caravan with intention.
Okay.
Well, I think that's all the samples from around here. Shall we travel on further down towards the camp and see what else they've mined?
Might
I
as
think we
well.
should probably stop him from killing the guy in the caravan. That might be good.
No, he's a slaver. Anyway,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Justice.
Should we help him kill the guy in the
quite right,
caravan?
Reggie. Quite right.
Should we help him?
I'm collecting minerals for science.
Right, I'm going to follow the Sariki
Let's
that
go
brought us down here,
collect
his name I can't pronounce.
minerals closer to where someone's gonna get killed.
Exactly what I was saying. Onwards.
Okay.
Because I'm tagging along after you guys, and I have a very, very, very low athletic score, I just want to point out that I'm now going to sit down and catch my breath. Because I'm the least athletic rogue on the face of the earth, so somehow that happens.
Cool.
Is that a deception to steal things, or is that a genuine thing you're doing?
I'm tired.
Okay, sure.
It's working in the galley, long hours, don't get to
Yeah.
sit down.
It's
That's
true.
fair
It's
enough.
cramped. Back
You're just looking around, just like, oh, thank God I don't have to make any more sandwiches. Like, as you make your way closer to the area, you can see now that in one of the cages at the bottom of the rock is this large humanoid. They are covered in reddy grey fur and don't appear to be wearing any noticeable clothing specifically. And as you look up above, the gangtrees above the heads of the cage are covered in similar creatures. I would like you all to roll me an insight check, please.
14.
13.
Unnatural 20.
It's an alphabetical order. +1 you've got.
6.
Butcher's having a bad day.
Really not rolling.
That's why my name's Fortune.
It's a misnomer.
That's when they're being polite, they refer to me as Misfortune.
Reginald, you recognise you've seen a couple of these things before. You've also heard stories. One of the people who has made their way on board the ship and sort of set up a temporary tavern, effectively on the very front of the top of the ship on the deck. A strange birdman by the name of potassium nitrate at the moment. But he used to call himself Plumage.
He changes his name.
He likes words. He has told stories of a group that look like this, or rather a species that look like this, that are known as the Eriak. They used to be widely used as slaves. They are very tall, very strong, but very docile. And they're covered in this thick, strange fur. They don't tend to wear much in the way of clothing because of that. So to see these here and to see them being used as slaves is quite clear that this is why this small Sariki dwarf-like man is making a beeline for the door of the caravan.
I would like, if possible, to overtake Quaid.
What's your speed?
I think it's just 30.
took
Yeah,
a while
it's
to
30. I would like to overtake him and try and knock on the door of the caravan before he gets there.
Okay.
Keep up, Reggie.
You dash off ahead, and you knock on the door of the caravan. Inside, roll me a perception check.
17.
You hear the sound of things moving, sound of metal clanking, and then a short sound of wood being dragged across wood.
Mm-hmm.
And with great shock, the door flies open.
Hello, I'm Philip Iontaru. I'm a geologist. I was wondering if you'd come across any of, and I point out some niter in the walls that I'd spotted earlier. Any of that mineral and happen to mine around it.
As you start talking,
Yeah.
out from the doorway steps a large, maybe
That happened to me all of this morning.
6.5 feet tall,
So he's only a few inches taller than me.
but much bigger, much wider and more broad. Bird man, which
A
you
Maguro?
recognize as a Maguru.
Oh.
Scruffy, rough-looking, deep dark red feathers all over her body, and dark black feathers all around the face and neck.
Ooh. This
One of her eyes has a deep, painful-looking fresh scar.
Ooh.
And she stands right up in front of you and says, "Who are you? Who gave you permission to come in here?"
Well, firstly, I've already said I'm Philip Iontaru. I'm a geologist.
At this point, she stops listening to you.
Sure.
And she just looks around. She just looks around.
Most people do.
Looks up and checks that all of that nothing else has changed other than your arrival. Everything else appears to be the same. Satisfied, she sort of she fronts up to you as if to be like, "Get out of my way.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing here?
Mhm.
What would you do?"
I'm continuing to talk. I repeat exactly what I said before again, in exactly the same words.
She's going to reach for her sword and attempt to intimidate you out of her way.
Okay. I'm having fought frost giants and clockwork dragons. Philip is not going to be intimidated by a slightly tall Maguro.
How long is it going to take me to get to this caravan? To join up with him, because I did start off towards it. I've got 25 feet movement.
It will take until the end of whatever we're doing right now
Sweet.
to catch up with it. You're not going to be intimidated.
No.
How's a 27?
Fair enough. She's she's fairly intimidating, actually. Very, very sort of fashionable for a Maguro. I like the black and red. Yes.
And as you're sort of stammering and stepping back from the side of it, behind her from out of the caravan steps a second person. This one looks similar to the guy who was moving up towards it. Short. However, as you look at him, you see that he is much, much paler. His whole skin and all the exposed flesh that you can see is the kind of dead white that you see of dead coral. And his eyes are almost completely white apart from these two tiny black pupils in the centre of it. He was wearing this full, bushy, goatee beard, but he has shaved the sides of his cheeks. So he has this sort of strange, big, bushy Fu Manchu going on. He's wearing an armour, like a solid plate armour. Roll me perception checks to start with. And Brina, as you're walking
Natural
up towards
20.
this,
Hey, there's the
He
fortune.
did
3.
it. 12.
Oh wait, you have halfling.
13.
Don't you? You should
Fortune, you
do it for some
recognise that there is a symbol. You can see there's symbols all over this, but they've been kind of scratched off. And as you look at it, you see that it's covered in these sort of symbols of a flaming anvil. There's one on here, one right in the centre. The one right in the centre has this like scratched, jagged fissure across it, as if he sort of doesn't want it on there any longer. Roll me a religion check.
13.
It definitely looks like this is the armour that would be worn by a cleric of some description, or similar. You don't necessarily recognise the symbol. However, it does remind you of the symbol of the dwarven god in your home world. So you think this might have some kind of parallel in this world.
Is this a good revelation or a bad revelation that this might be a cleric?
As you look at him, what immediately becomes clear is you see cleric, and then you see. Don't look at my notes.
I'm looking at Reginald's wonderful blue eyes.
And then you see beside his waist, you see a large, spiky weapon, and you think. Maybe not cleric, maybe some kind of paladin.
Maybe I should get out my short bow to have the ready just in case.
He steps out beside the bird, and he says in a deep voice, "Who are you? What brings you here? How dare you enter into my mining operation? These are my slaves. You can't have them. This is my land. I claim it."
Firstly, do you have a flag?
Roll persuasion.
Oh, that's not bad, 16.
I do not need a flag.
All right, well, this man here says you need a flag, and I turn and point to Quaid.
At this point, he clocks Quaid and he says, "Oh, I see you come scrawling back to... There is no flag in beneath, is there?"
Secondly, I am Philip Iontaru, and we don't like slavers.
I do not care whether you like me or not. This is my property. I found it, I made my way in here, and I have taken control of it. As far as I'm concerned, you are trespassing. Be gone, or you will regret it.
Okay, well, if this one's your property, I'm just going to take this one next door. We're neighbours. How's that?
This whole cavern is my property.
Oh, no, I found this one. I made my way in here, and I claim it as mine.
Did you open the door of diamond?
I mean, we came through a diamond corridor, if that's what you mean.
I teleported in here. I know nothing about a door.
The diamond corridor did not exist before we mined it.
So you're a frontier man, and you understand the laws of the frontier.
Am I there yet?
Yeah, you've made your way up at this point, as has Quaid. Quaid is beside you, and he's just shouting obscenities, mostly about how he's filthy and how he not Quaid the man, and he's basically saying, "Vilos, How dare you? You have broken a sacred oath. You and all of your kind should have been thrown out of the doors into the wetlands beyond.
Excuse me, Mr. Slaver person. What's above this?
We have investigated as far as we can. We have been here for much time. So far we have found only more. It seems to go on and on. This is a rich world for the plunder.
So you're plundering it.
Who,
What for?
Yeah, who you gonna trade with, bro?
At this point, a massive grin falls across his face and he says, with this much ore and mineral, anyone we wish.
Where is anyone you wish?
Back the way you came, presumably.
Where you're
we
exiled from.
We have been here with this much money, with this much ore and mineral. I could buy my way into Beneath. I could buy every person in the town.
You probably couldn't buy the queens, though.
The queens trade with me. They
Reginald.
need not know what goes on beyond. I have no interest outside of the mines.
Hide the sack.
And at this point, he sort of points to Quaid and he says,
Good job.
I see you've come crawling in here with your problems about my operation as usual. You've been harassing me from the first day that you brought this stupid law into position. Don't worry. I won't take away what you care for so much. I know you love mining. When I buy out everyone in Beneath, I'll keep you and your family on. You can keep mining. You'll make a perfect addition to the rug people. At this point,
Whoa! Whoa!
Seems a little derogatory.
Whoa! Just as an aside here for a second. Quaid. What's the punishment for continuing to mine and breaking your oath back in Beneath? Just out of curiosity.
Quaid's struggling to contain himself as part of his thing, and he's sort of saying, they have been thrown out of the community. They should not be allowed here any longer.
Yes, we know.
We will kick them out of the mountain. We will make them leave.
But what's the next step beyond exile? If they come back, if someone you
you've exiled
exile
them.
comes back, what do you do then?
We chose not to exile one of our own.
So what do you? How do you define kicking out in legal terms?
What? Right. Speaking as the DM,
Yeah,
what
go
you
on.
are trying to achieve?
What am I trying to achieve?
We're trying to confuse them a little bit.
Because it sounds like you're
I'm
trying to start a fight.
I'm trying to intimidate this guy. At this stage, he's 5-on-2, right?
No man, his slaves might fight us.
And he's being a git.
He has a smile on his face.
Okay, fine.
Brina's never trying to start a fight. Brina just wants to be like, look, okay, I'm going to do this in character because I feel like this is... Look, realistically, we're not happy about slaving, but we need something from this cavern anyway.
Reginald and Fortune, you have been watching on intently as this has been carried. What are you doing, or what would you like to do?
I am currently hiding a sack full of minerals behind my back.
Good job.
So you're stood there with this large sack behind your back.
Full of minerals.
Full of minerals.
Wonderful. Fortune.
Having worked in the food industry, we know there is no real God, so...
Here.
Yep.
Seeing that he is with, or may have been with, a religious order is not exactly comforting to me, and so I'm not really keen to work with him. So
Okay.
we're kind of...
So we're all on the same page. Don't want to work with this guy.
No.
Great. Awesome.
Okay. I'll stop. I'll back down. I'll stop being antagonistic for a moment, and I'll just say we are here for that. And I point at the niter again. I go, you can have the diamond and the jade and the ruby and the emerald and the sapphire. We want the niter. That's all.
And what will you give me to mine my material?
It's It's useless material.
It's my useless material.
Have you got anything?
But do you need it specifically?
I think he's just being deliberately.
He's trying to get money out of us. Just don't even try it. All our money is back on.
I have these books.
What good are books to me?
They're magic books.
He sort of holds out his arms as if to be like, I have all the magic I could possibly need. Look at me, I'm a paladin. I do not need your silly words in paper.
Ex-paladin.
Oh.
That's a moment of insight there. Okay, can
Shady.
I turn to the jade and use mold earth to bring out a 5 foot by 5 foot cube of it and just plonk it in front of him?
Yes, you can. As you do so, there is a strange change in the atmosphere of the cave.
Oh no.
The earth beneath you
I
shudders,
done goofed.
and there is a strange, low humming sound. Roll perception checks.
Why'd you do it, Philip?
Nat 20.
Oh, nice. 18.
Thank God. 17.
15.
You all see chunks of rock, huge boulders, just monumentally sized pieces of earth crash down in the distance and crash down nearby. The ground beneath your feet rumbles and tremors. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
That's post hoc ergo propter hoc logic there. It's nothing to do with Philip.
I think it was. Also, I'm about to fall over, so it's definitely
9.
15.
5.
12.
Come on, Reginald. You're our last hope.
Who?
Sorry,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry. Say again.
7, 5, 12.
You rolled 9,
Yeah, 12.
did you?
I rolled 5.
I rolled
5. You fall to the ground,
Sure.
taking
No.
4 bludgeoning damage.
I rolled 9.
You roll. Yeah, you also take 3 bludgeoning damage as you hit the ground, and you are both prone at the moment. As you
I can fight from the ground.
So fine.
As you watch, roll. But those of you who are on the floor, roll perception checks.
11.
20. Modified 20.
You have turned, and you are looking back towards the entranceway that you came in through, and you see this rock slide that starts way up above the top of the tunnel, and it just cascades, and you see this huge amount of rock fall.
Is it coming towards us?
No, it crashes down in front, and it blocks the entrance that you came in through. The two of you who are still on your feet, I'll come back to it. Two of you who are still on your feet, roll perception checks for me.
It's only going to be a gag.
9.
16.
16. You're looking back in the direction of the caravan still. You see at the base of the boulder, the massive jade boulder, behind the scaffolding, beneath the scaffolding, you see a bright column of green light fire out of the base of the rock. And as you look at it, you can start to see what appears to be a square doorway.
I didn't do that.
As you watch the rocks fall over the entranceway, you both also suddenly notice that between you and the exitway was another character who, up to this point, none of you were aware of. A small, skulking, black-hooded, dark-faced
It's the Vosu, right?
Vosu,
Yeah.
fox-like. As you see this character, you see a huge block of stone tumble from the roof and splat onto her.
I guess we'll never know.
The smile on Vilosh's face disappears.
I turn to the paladin and go, have you got immigration papers? Because not sure we're getting out.
Thank you.
Can I stand up, please?
Oh yeah, I also stand up.
You can indeed. Do you make anyone aware of what you've seen?
Look at that.
What, that big rock on the floor?
Did I see the rock crush the person?
No, you saw the strange glowing green doorway.
Did we all see the rock crush the person?
You two saw the rock cross the person.
Oh.
You saw the green doorway.
I saw nothing.
You just saw shaking, earthquaking.
Saw rocks.
In that bloody case, I'm going to turn to everyone else and go, which Rosie was this?
Did you see that? That was gnarly.
He's shocked. He's strange, and he says,
What appears to be some blood.
"That was Stab. Damn, I need to find a new fence."
Well, what? Just out of interest, because I really want to know. Vosu tend to use contractions with their names. Yeah. What was Stab's full name?
Stab in the back.
Boo, GM. Boo.
I've lost my assassin.
I'm going to be honest with you. Sorry to have not met her.
Did you see? What did you see?
I was gonna say, I pointed out kind of quietly. Everyone's very distracted with the large boulder crushing someone, so nobody really hears me, and I kind of just take some steps towards it.
You take some steps
Making my way
towards it.
Are you trying to be sneaky?
Not sneaky, no, I'm just kind of walking slowly towards it.
Can I notice him walking towards it?
Roll a perception check.
Modified 20.
Yeah, you watch as Fortune starts to carefully make his way across towards...
Good job.
Or her way, rather.
Yeah, her way.
Her way, apologies. Makes her way across towards the light at the bottom of the boulder.
Fortune, wait until we can join you.
I guess I can wait a few minutes.
Where are we going?
Well, she has seen a light.
At this point, you see this strange glowing green light.
Awesome. Can I roll an Arcana check?
Could I also roll an Arcana check?
You'd have to get closer to it in order to
I would like to get closer to it and roll an Arcana check.
I'm the closest. Can I roll an Arcana check?
You can
Yeah.
indeed.
I can indeed.
Your Arcana's +3, so just roll +3.
Fair play. Reginald, there's a green door.
18.
Oh, would you look at that?
There is magic here.
Oh.
I'm going to get closer and roll an Arcana check. Critical fail. +8 can't save me now.
No, it's not worth it.
There is a strong magical aura and sense coming. And as you feel it now, you feel not just from specifically the doorway, but from the whole boulder.
Do you know anything about this, Paladin? By the way, what's your name?
Vilosh.
Oh, yes, Velos. Oh, this is the Velos chap. Yes.
Yes. You haven't learnt the name of the strange bird woman.
Nor do I care to. They change their names all the time.
She's also kind of intimidating.
Yeah, I'm not
if
giving
I
her
were to
the
give
glory.
her a number between 1 and 20 on the scale of intimidation, I'd call it a 27.
She sort of gives you this disdainful look with her hand on her sword and says, "Well, if you don't want to know my name, you shan't."
Good.
DM Leo's going to want to know her name, though. As you make your way up to the green boulder where the light emits, I'd like everyone to roll me an investigation check, please.
18.
5.
13.
Brina, as you look at the doorway, you see here that the material appears to be wafer thin. And you get the impression, as you look through, that just the way the light's moving and bouncing, that there's possibly a corridor beyond this wafer thin veneer of a doorway almost.
Oh, wait.
Can I reach out and touch it?
Yes,
I do that.
nothing happens.
But can I put my hand through the material?
You cannot.
Oh.
Roll an insight check.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, that's not good. Can it be Alpha again, please? Because I get +8 on that. That's is 9 total.
It looks very thin. You cannot see any handles or anything that would imply it's specifically a doorway, but it does imply that this is like a very thin entrance to the corridor beyond.
I cast knock.
You got way too excited for that.
What does knock do?
Unlocks magical locks.
Yeah, but yes, it also does many other things.
It does other things.
Doesn't it like make a huge booming noise that anything within 300 feet can hear?
It's not a huge booming noise. It's this noise, but everyone in 300 feet can hear.
Well, this is a
Hang on,
very
I'm
big
going to
cavern.
double check the rules.
Well, Reggie.
When you cast a spell, a loud knock, audible as far away as 300 feet, emanates from the target object.
I mean, 300 feet is a very loud knock.
It's
like,
not a... More like...
You know when people in construction sites drop rebar? that's what that is.
The object can be a door, a box, a chest, a set of manacles, a padlock, or another object that contains a mundane or magical means that prevents access. It becomes unlocked, unstuck, or unbarred. If it has multiple locks, only one of them is unlocked.
Roll me a quick insight check.
7.
Yeah, you can do it.
So I've cast it.
Cool.
So can I go in?
What on earth was that?
Oh, I've got a new spell. You know that arcane lock I put on the captain's door?
Yes.
Well, it occurred to me that if there were arcane locks anywhere else, I wouldn't be able to get to them. So I learnt a spell, so I could get through arcane locks.
Will it help you kill a frost strand?
No.
Reginald and I aren't impressed.
Can I walk through this entryway?
There is a loud, booming, resounding bang.
I found a combat,
Rena.
everyone.
Rena, what have you brought down on us, Rena?
Philip, you started it.
Not sure I did.
There doesn't appear to be any
Who signed it off?
change. You get the sense that this wasn't necessarily locked so much as it was a very fine barrier that needs to be broken through
Oh.
physically.
Oh.
It's
Oh.
not a locked door, it's just a very fine, thin veneer of jade that needs to be
Could you come and smash this?
crushed.
I'm gonna smash it with the sack full of minerals.
No, not the minerals!
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
Does that count as a flail? Is that-
It's going to count as an improvised weapon. Roll me an attack, please.
Wouldn't that show the slaver that he has a sack full of minerals?
It would, but I don't think he cares.
Probably
I don't-
will.
I don't think he's not thinking like a rogue, Fortune. That's the problem.
He heard, "Can you break this, please?" and went, "Yes, I can."
What am I rolling?
So it'll be. Is he proficient?
What's your normal weapon?
Longsword.
No, unfortunately. You
Okay,
aren't.
so you'll just
you can
add
still add your
+4
strength,
there.
but just yeah.
9.
Isn't it wafer thin?
Wafer thin.
It is wafer thin.
It's wafer thin.
Um,
Everyone else is.
the bag bangs off the wafer thin jade, the magical wafer thin jade, and the sack itself splits, as you're throwing it over your shoulder.
My minerals!
And you basically just throw gems and minerals, like, scattered against the door.
Reginald,
but,
I'm so
Could
disappointed.
you do anything?
You haven't been able to open it with that specific
me to hide?
weapon.
No. I'm gonna acid splash the door.
I too am going to acid splash the door.
Okay.
I did not discuss this with Brina. It is
Before-
just a simultaneous action.
Before I do it though, I'm gonna make sure Fortune and what's your name again?
Reginald.
I'm gonna make sure Fortune and Reginald are out of my way.
Excellent.
What was it? Farnsworth.
Get 5 feet back.
Get more than 5 feet.
You both.
Okay.
You both fire off your acid splashes. What happens? Explain to me
1d6.
what happens.
Target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw.
It fails.
Or it's
What?
1d6 damage each.
1d6.
6.
4, 10 total.
Okay.
Melty.
Wizards.
It doesn't break, but you get the impression that it has become weakened, and if you hit it with something non-magical, it may be easier.
Try again, Reggie. Come on.
I'm gonna
Use your
swing the
sword this
longsword.
time. Use your sword.
Swing the long
Well, now with
sword.
some
Yeah, add
acid covered.
7.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
15.
You hit.
Thank God.
Roll damage.
That's 1d8.
I thought they'd roll like a 2 or
this
something. I was really
I
like,
thought we were done for it.
yeah.
Plus 8.
13.
The thin veneer of the door, and these tiny little wafer-thin tendrils and hairline cracks just make their way from where you've hit it all the way to the sides, and then in one like a sheet of glass smashing, the whole thing just into
How-
these tiny little thin shards at the floor, and in front of you see a long jade tunnel, and that's where we're going to hold for this hour.
Thank everyone for coming to Adventures Wanted. We're doing this from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every single day of the Fringe. Very quickly, we're also live streaming on twitch.tv/Adventurers Wanted, and we are live tweeting the whole thing on @Adventurers250. I think that's all from us. We've now got a quick changeover to get the next hour in, though I see that Dr. Burns
Yeah.
Has returned.
come and help everyone and organise this crew. So yes, it's a quick turnaround, but thank you very much for coming and have a lovely day.
Too.
Yeah. Thanks so much
Thanks
very
very
much.
much.
Take
I
your
hope you
character
enjoyed
sheet.
that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. You can take your character sheet as a souvenir if you'd like.
Oh boy.